Hey guys, what's going on? Jake Truitt here. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast series, Cinema Time. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about the movie Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Now, I know I've been doing individual movies for a while, and we will get back to that, but I wanted to focus on some franchises and maybe even eventually some trilogies here for a while. So the next 8 episodes of this series, including this one, so this and 7 more episodes, are going to be about the Harry Potter movies in order. So today we're starting with the first one, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is a movie that came out back in 2001. It's rated PG. The categories it falls under are fantasy and adventure, and it has a runtime of 2 hours and 32 minutes. Places you can watch Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone: you can watch it on Peacock, Fubo TV, you can watch it on YouTube, Hulu with a premium subscription, Amazon Prime Video with a premium subscription, and you can also watch it for free on Max with just a regular subscription. The film's release date was November 16th, 2001 in the United States, and it was directed by Chris Columbus. And no, obviously not Christopher Columbus, who sailed the ocean blue in 1492. No, not that Chris Columbus. Obviously a different Chris Columbus. Most of these names you guys should know, include Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter, Emma Watson, who played Hermione Granger, Ron Weasley was played by Rupert Grint, Alan Rickman, who played Professor Severus Snape, Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy, Robbie Coltrane, who played Rubeus Hagrid, Richard Harris, who played Professor Albus Dumbledore, Bonnie Wright, who played Ginny Weasley, Matthew Lewis, who played Neville Longbottom, Maggie Smith, who played Minerva McGonagall, Fiona Shaw, who played Aunt Petunia, John Cleese, who played Nearly Headless Nick, the ghost of Hogwarts, or one of them at least, Alfred Enoch, who played Dean Thomas, Harry Melling, who played Harry's cousin Dudley Dursley, Ian Hart, who played Quirinus Quirrell, or aka Professor Quirrell, John Hurt, who played Garrick Ollivander, Julie Walters, who played Molly Weasley, Richard Griffiths, who played Vernon Dursley, Oliver Phelps, who played the character George Weasley, Warwick Davis, and honestly, guys, just a bunch of other big names. There's a huge list of different actors from this movie. Now, I know that everybody I know, at least, has seen Harry Potter at least once in their life. There are people out there, believe it or not, who have not ever seen these movies, either because they're not a fan of them, or because they just have never got around to seeing them. For those of you who have never seen Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, here is the brief synopsis of what this film is about. Adaptation of the first of J.K. Rowling's popular children's novels about Harry Potter, a boy who learns on his 11th birthday that he is an orphan son of 2 powerful wizards and possesses unique magical powers of his own. He is summoned from his life as an unwanted child to become a student at Hogwarts, an English boarding school for wizards. There he meets several friends who become his closest allies and help him discover the truth about his parents' mysterious deaths. So if you haven't seen the movie, fair warning, spoiler alert, I am going to be talking a little bit about things that happened in the movie, just so you know. So to basically dive a little further in on that brief synopsis of the film, essentially, without, of course, giving too much away, basically, Harry Potter, played by Daniel Radcliffe, his parents are killed by Lord Voldemort, he learns, which is the main villain of the entire franchise of all, for all the movies, obviously. Voldemort comes back in many ways throughout the series, you'll learn as you watch it. And basically, Harry, he was a baby when his parents were killed, and instead of Voldemort killing him, Voldemort gave him a scar, which you see in the movies is a lightning bolt on Harry's head. And basically, the night Harry's parents were killed, instead of Voldemort killing him, he spared Harry, like I said. But the reason he gave him this scar is because that night he attached a part of his soul inside of Harry's. So basically, him and Voldemort are connected and are one and the same, essentially, because of that. So years later, on Harry's 11th birthday, he discovers about his, parents being wizards, and he also discovers that he is a wizard as well, from a guy named Rubeus Hagrid, played by Robbie Coltrane. He basically comes and tells Harry that he's a wizard and that he's been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. His aunt and uncle are definitely not a fan of this and tell Hagrid that he's not going to be going to Hogwarts, and Hagrid just kind of brushes this off and laughs at it and, "Oh, and I suppose a great muggle like yourself's gonna do something, aren't you?" So Hagrid immediately gives the answer afterward. For those of you who are wondering what the heck is a muggle, non-magic folk, people who are born without magic powers or abilities. So because Harry's parents were wizards, he was born with the ability of being a wizard and possessing magical abilities. Yes, now, even though in these movies most of the wizards and witches that you see wear hats like the stereotypical witch or wizard, Harry does not wear a hat in the films. He does not, he wears robes in the first movie, and I believe in the second movie, but he does not wear, a hat like your stereotypical witch or wizard. Harry soon learns that when he's older that his parents were killed by someone named Lord Voldemort, or in the first movie they call him He Who Must Not Be Named, because everybody is afraid to say Voldemort's name. After meeting his friends on the Hogwarts Express, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, played by Rupert Grint and Emma Watson, as I said before, they all become best friends, and essentially they go on this quest to try to, as it says in the description, discover the truth about his parents' mysterious deaths and learn more about Lord Voldemort essentially as well. That's all I'm going to say about, going further into details about the movie. Like I said, I wanted to give some brief points, but I didn't want to give too much away for those of you who haven't seen it. But like I said, if you haven't, spoiler alert, before you listen to this podcast, go watch it first and then listen, because I did just give stuff away about the movie. Just a fair warning, guys. Here are some fun facts about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The first one says here, Scholastic published Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in the U.S. in September 1998. The book by then debuted author J.K. Rowling had an initial first printing of 50,000 copies for the first book. Another fun fact is that Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter, his parents originally did not want him to be in the movie because they had no interest in letting their son take on the role. They were being very protective of him, understandably not wanting him to get swept up in Hollywood craziness. They turned down Columbus's offer to have the young actor audition, only to eventually be convinced after they ran into producer David Heyman and screenwriter Steve Kloves at a London theater and heard of the men's pleas. One sit-down meeting later with Columbus and Radcliffe's parents became fully on board, having gained confidence that the director would help protect their child from the pressures and the media. Another fun fact is that M. Night Shyamalan was almost the director of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It says, Shyamalan declined the offer, but the question is, can you imagine how different Sorcerer's Stone would have been if the guys best known for terrifying films like The Sixth Sense had been in charge? I personally probably would not have been as much of a fan of it, but I've watched M. Night Shyamalan stuff before. Some of his stuff is good. Some of his stuff is kind of so-so. But if he would have directed this movie, it would have been a whole completely different film, and maybe even a whole different franchise that we know and love today. Another fun fact, the final scene of the film Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was actually in fact shot last when they were filming. It says the very last scene of the Sorcerer's Stone, when Harry and his friends board the train to return home for the summer and say goodbye to Hogwarts, spoiler alert, was ironically the very first scene shot for the film. It may have felt weird to film so early on, but the actors managed to channel their characters' complicated emotions with ease. So another fact is when you're watching the movie, when they first enter the Great Hall, the Great Hall up on the ceiling will be looking like, it looks like the night sky. It's made to look like the night sky, and there's floating candles. And it says that the Great Hall ceiling was created entirely with CGI. It says to build the most memorable set of Sorcerer's Stone, Hogwarts Great Hall, the crew made use of many real elements such as York stone for the floor, candle-shaped holders suspended from wires, and edible food and drinks to cover the tables. The gorgeous, elaborate ceiling, though, was created completely using CGI. In reality, there was nothing but studio stage lighting above the students' heads. Now, a lot of people are probably asking, these kids are awfully young to be in these movies. How did they do schoolwork while they were filming? Fun fact, the kids all did their real homework during those school scenes. It says, sure, starring in a movie can be fun, but for child actors, it's not always a walk in the park. Case in point, the young cast members of The Sorcerer's Stone did their actual homework during all the school scenes in order to make their focus and frustration seem more real. Hey, at least they were multitasking. And another really interesting fun fact, at least to me, I never noticed this as a kid, but as I got older I noticed it. It says Harry never casts a spell in the movie. Yes, seriously. Despite being the chosen one, aka a wizard, and the one that everyone knows about, or the boy who lived as they call him, a great wizard in training, etc., whatever you want to call him, Harry does not cast a single spell during the Sorcerer's Stone. It's true that he accidentally does magic a few times throughout the film, but he never once actually casts a spell successfully. That moment comes in the second film, The Chamber of Secrets, thankfully. Because I can't imagine Harry doing things magically without realizing, but not ever actually casting a spell, you know? That would be weird because he's a wizard, so if he can't cast spells, then what would be the point, of him being a wizard, you know? The film was distributed by Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers Pictures, Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, and Filmflex. The actual film's budget was $125 million, but the box office worldwide record that it collected was actually $1.24 billion. That's right. They had a budget of $125 million and a worldwide box office record. They made $1.24 billion instead. That's a lot. Some of the reviews that were left on this movie, IMDb gave it a 7.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 81%, which I think is fair considering how old the movie was, but I think they should have gone a little bit higher. But the audience rating summary, there are 6,521 ratings on here apparently, and 4.8 stars out of 5 is the overall rating from the audience. This movie and this franchise has become one of my all-time favorite films and film franchises. I own all 8 of the movies on DVD. I have watched them all growing up. I watched them into my teen years. I have watched them now into my adult years. I actually plan on rewatching them again soon because these movies are just so powerful, so amazing, so memorable. I can actually quote most of the movies, and fun fact, I do voice impressions of different characters, and I can actually sound like a majority of the characters from the films as well. Just a little fun fact about me for you guys. But overall, these movies are fantastic. They're memorable. They're super incredible. I guarantee you, if you haven't seen them, once you start watching the first one, once you get through that, and then you start watching the other 7 films, I guarantee that you'll want to watch them over and over and over, and then eventually do a binge watch where you basically watch all 8 of them in a row. I've done it before. I plan on doing it again sometime. Just because they're so magical, they're so amazing. Yeah, magical, no pun intended. They're amazing. They just have such a great story. They talk about family and friendship, love, sacrifice, all the above, pretty much that you could think about. And yeah, overall, they're just such amazing movies. And if you haven't seen them, I definitely recommend that you go on Peacock or HBO Max and watch them because they are definitely movies that you will fall in love with. And they're definitely movies, like I said, you will watch over and over again. And one day, whenever I have kids of my own, I intend to show them the movies. And I'm sure you'll do the same for yours. And who knows, one day in the future, maybe if your kids really like it, maybe when they're older and they grow up and have kids of their own, they'll show their kids. And it'll just be a continuing trend with generation after generation, That's what these movies do. These movies bring families together a lot. And they most certainly, cause families to make memories for sure. Anyway, guys, that concludes today's episode of Cinema Time. Join me next week for the next episode where we will be talking about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Like I said, the next 8 episodes of this series are going to be about the Harry Potter movies. So thank you guys again so much for joining. I really appreciate each and every single one of you guys. This has been your host, Jake Truitt, saying, when the movie starts, please be quiet and courteous and silence your cell phones and enjoy the show. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Take care.